Hey guys, Brett from Mind Body Martial Arts here. I get quite a lot of messages or contacts about different um, videos and different channels and this and that and the next thing, and I see them, and you guys will probably know if you follow. I've been on YouTube here for since back in the day. My channel, you can go back and see, has got loads of stuff on it, doing martial arts and whatnot. With a background in law enforcement for 15 years. And so I get a lot of debunking sort of things, and you see how popular the whole debunking trend is. And I see stuff on YouTube that just, is just absolute garbage, so much garbage. And, sometimes I would love to join the debunking trend or call out this channel or shout out this channel for crap. I very rarely make videos on other channels or whatever. And if I usually do, it's usually because I think they're alright, but then there's something that they're leading astray. Like years ago, I did some stuff on old Jake Mace, which was just technique based, because I thought he was putting out like self-defense techniques, which were, a bit iffy, although he himself was practically a better martial artist than most of the people who tried to debunk him. For instance, he could kick higher, he could probably punch stronger, he had more cardiovascular ability, more flexibility, So that's what I found funny. So the old Bible adage of when you debunk people, like Jesus used to say, well, look, before you point out the stick in your brother's eye, look at the plank in your own eye. So I believe it's a waste of energy. But sometimes it needs to be done. But you don't have to, but you gotta select the way that you do it. So yeah, and it's a negative thing. It's not going to make you any better, and it's just going to be for views mainly. You know. So yeah, I get a lot of contacts about, oh, what do you think about this channel and what do you think about that channel? And look, so the point of this video is what I wanted to say for anyone who's listening is, and this is something I learned back in my martial arts days as well, is that everything has its place, and like people, martial arts are varied, just like people. Now, some people are big and muscly and strong. Some people aren't. Some people are fierce. Some people aren't. Some people are this. Some people like jujitsu. Some people like this. Some people like aikido. And everyone should have a right to practice the martial arts that they want. But yeah, I agree. The danger is, and with the rise of MMA, they don't get away with it as much, is the danger is that the old cult of old martial arts that aren't practical has kind of started to die with the modern internet and everything. But the problem is, and this is another reason why I don't bother doing it, my opinion on channels is this, is that you can't educate close-minded people. And the moment you start tearing down other channels, you're appealing to the culture of people who want that. And so they'll watch 10 videos about martial arts getting torn down with their closed minds, and they're not training, or they're not doing, or they think, well, that what they're doing is the best, and it's just they don't. The very essence of thinking that what they do is the best is, in most cases, I'm not going to say in all, in most cases, is their downfall. And one thing I have been verbal about in the past is these channels, like I've forgotten what it's called now, but what's it called? Not Bushido, Bullshido, or McDojo Life. Like back in the day, I don't know if it's still around, but McDojo Life, that channel, back in the day, I just used to hate that channel, because like there was a bunch of funny stuff in it. But within the funny clip shows that this guy used to do, every now and then there would be like a legitimate thing that he just didn't understand or culturally didn't get because he's an American, you know. And like, yeah, nothing against America, but you know, America doesn't have the biggest rap for being culturally understanding. So, you know, they might show some Ki martial art or something like that. And actually, more often than not, if someone's ruining a martial art, guess who it is? It's a freaking American who, you know, sorry to say, guys, but who absolutely slaughtered karate? You guys and that XMA and all that bullshit, and wearing American flag gis and spinning around and doing their stupid kiais and stuff. So you guys are like the harbingers of bullshido. Sorry to say, you know, I love all my American friends and stuff and everything, but you got to be honest with yourselves. Like, bullshido is almost an American construct because within the countries, within Japan, within China, within the things, they may have these bullshidos, but it's like there's a cultural aspect to it, and it's just not as bullshido as the badly half-learned American demonstration. You know, most of the videos you see, I'm ranting a bit now, but most of the videos you see on kung fu and this and that and the next thing, are just like, you know, badly learned like Europeans or Americans or something like that doing like naff-ass kung fu, you know. And yeah, there is now a lot of videos of like these old masters and this and that, and then they're getting beaten up and knocked out. But one thing you got to understand with that is, like, in China and in those countries, it was only a respect thing, that those people weren't getting knocked out. It was just a respect for the elderly, like, and yeah, they had a following, but even then, there's people who know there that, like, yeah, you know, this is the guy, he was a kung fu master, we give him respect because he's an elder. And there's just a different there's a different culture, and not everything needs. And another thing is, my main hate of these channels is that they sell you out to be an idiot, because I don't need to be shown bad martial arts and told that it's bad. Like back in my day of training, you just saw it and knew it was bad. So like, you don't need to show me clips of all this crap and be like, oh, look how crap this is, everyone's falling for it, and oh, look how shit this kung fu is. Because guess what, there's good for kung fu, there's bad kung fu, there's good karate, there's bad karate. There's so many different styles of karate. There's good jiu-jitsu, there's bad jiu-jitsu, there's good ninjutsu, there's bad ninjutsu, there's bujinkan, there's genbukan, there's all sorts, there's tai chi, there's qigong, there's, you know. But going back to my first point, it's horses for courses, you know. I've met some great people and great guys who better themselves, and this is another thing. I've met some people who go through some pretty hard shit, and we all have, and you don't know what people are going through, and they better themselves through their humble practice of martial art, whether it's Aikido or whether it's this and this and that, you know. And yeah, in their own life, they will learn their own lessons in their time, or they won't. It's not up to some stupid channel to school them, or school me, or school you. Like, if you like what's his name? What was his name? The channel, the lad that did Aikido. So he's a classic example. There was that Vegas. What was his name? Martial Arts Journey. So he did Aikido. He did it for years. And he, you know, and I remember, I think, seeing his early stuff. And he was an instructor of Aikido and this and that and the next thing. But I saw him like once when I first saw him, or when I saw his first clips. And I was like, why does this guy think he can fight? Like, why did he, you know, this was good for him, and he did his Aikido. And he needed to learn his lesson in his own life, that come to the realization like, oh, this is not good for me. Look at me, I'm weak, I'm not strong, I'm a young guy, I could be strong, I could be strengthening up, I could be doing all sorts of things, I could be training hard, but I'm sort of doing Aikido, this like ancient samurai martial arts. If he'd come to me, not that he would have, but if like, say, imaginarily he'd come to me and gone, Brett, what do you think? I would have nicely, but I would have gone, bro, you need to toughen up. Come and do some conditioning with me. Let's go on some runs. Let's lift some weights. Let's do some kung fu. Let's do some actual real martial arts. Aikido's really good at a top, at a max level, but you need some like proper meat and bones basics that aren't Aikido, like wrestling and, so do you get what I mean? Oh, Rojas, that's what his name is. So he needed in his own life to learn his own lessons. But his mistake, and I'm not doing now a debunk of his channel, but I'm just giving an example because that's one of the ones I spoke out about. Is his mistake in my eyes then was to come forward. Well, there's nothing wrong with coming forward, but come forward with this revelation like, oh, Aikido doesn't work because I tried it and it didn't work. But I could have pointed it. Yeah, I was like, bro, you're like a pencil. Like, of course your Aikido doesn't work. Like, train yourself up, toughen yourself up, make it work for you, or change your martial art. Like, or get what you want out of it. You got your spiritual fake entry into martial arts. You weren't a particularly physical character, and you got that protection and that bubble of safety of, oh, I'm martial arts, and it probably gave you confidence. But then it also gave you the confidence to then eventually go, hold on a minute, this doesn't work. And it took you longer than it would have taken a lot of people. I did 2 Aikido lessons knowing jujitsu and knowing kung fu and karate. I went to 2 and I went, no, I'm not doing this, because they had me bowing and scraping, and I like the culture, and the instructor like even like gave me some like stupid threat where he was like, I don't know, he said something to me, or he said, oh, can you wipe the mat or something? And I was like, yeah, I'll wipe the mat. And he was like, oh, you better wipe the mat. And I looked at him, and he was like a 40-something-year-old overweight like guy, and yeah, his wrists were a bit big, and he thought he was good as at Aikido. But even then, as a teenager, I would have been able to hurt that man quite badly, and maybe he would have beaten me, but I was just like, I remember looking at him and going like, bro, you don't have my respect to talk to me like that. Like, I'm not scared of you, bro. I was only like 17, 18. I was like, this guy been doing martial arts like 20, 25 years, like, or 30 years. And I was like, mate, I'm not scared of you. Like, bro, you're not tough. You don't look tough. Like, I've felt how you feel. You don't feel tough to me. That's what you can't hide. You can't hide how tough someone feels. When you shake their hand, when you look at them, when they throw you, when they move, so, but no doubt he's very skilled, but it's totally lost my respect because of ego. It was his ego. That guy, he'll find out in his journey one day, or maybe he won't. Maybe he'll spend his whole life thinking that he's the best, but then guess who loses out? Not you, not me, him. Yeah? One thing I do agree with those channels is the problem is when those people gain a platform and then they start bullshitting everyone else. But guess what, guys? It's the fools who get bullshitted. Well, that's a bit mean to say, but because there could be some kid who doesn't know anything. But I've been that kid who doesn't know anything, and and this and that. And if you put the practice in, you will, and you're honest to yourself. And now you can't. Now you guys have a wealth of information all online. The young guys coming up, there's no excuse. You can see good stuff. You can see the masters. Back in my day, you couldn't see them. They were nowhere. You just had your shit local clubs, and you had to walk into your shit local club and do it because it was better than nothing. And then if you were lucky, find a better club and work on yourself and blah 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 blah. And that's the way it worked. And now you can learn from freaking the biggest master in anything, like online or through courses as well, but going to their gym online, finding the gym, looking online. You and your mates can pretty much become awesome at a lot of different martial arts by you you and an athletic friend watching some videos of basics of a martial art and then just practicing them yourself. You can become like better than the shit we used to be able to get back in the day. You know, even with like jiu-jitsu, you'd be like, no, you have to go to a trainer, an instructor. No, if you've got you and a mate who's like, you've both got a little bit of brain cell between you, you can freaking watch videos and slowly do basics and learn stuff, and you can probably get better than most of us guys could even dream of getting better back in the day, because we used to open books with our friends and look at them and be like, oh, let's practice this move and practice that move and all of that. So yeah, so okay, so this started out as like a debunking video. So no, like by all means send me videos or ask me about this channel or that channel, but and that's fine. I'll give you my opinion really if you want it, but I'm not interested in debunking others. I just saw a channel before. It was a Tai Chi channel, and there was some guy on it talking about real combat, and the guy was, I'm obviously not going to say what the channel was, but the guy was like, he was like, this is an example. The guy was like stick thin, no conditioning, no strength, didn't have any power in his movement, just looked like someone who, and looks can be deceiving, yes, but he is the category of martial artist where that's good, that's enough for him. Like he's doing his little bit of martial arts and now he's teaching it. And people that are like him, that are physically like him, maybe more elderly people, people who are interested in that energy martial art, they'll gravitate towards him. And he's the guy who looks after those people. And those people would watch my channel or come to my club or whatever, and they'd see me breaking stuff. And I mean, I still do Qigong and stuff like this, and they'd see me doing shit, and they'd be like, oh, and they see I'm not the biggest guy in the world, but they'd see my sort of build and the way I move, and they'd be like, oh, I'm never, I'm not going to be that powerful. I can't do that. Not that I'm powerful, but I'm saying that's not my area of physicality. But the truth of the matter is it is, if they just train it, unless they're incapable of it, and that's the thing, like you doing these trainings, these hard trainings, you can train a small frame, just like bodybuilding. You can train a small frame that is not very strong and this and that, because we've all got the same skeletons. You can densen the bones, you can train yourself strong. So it doesn't matter if you're small frame, you can make yourself strong. It's about effort and wanting to do it. And the main reason why people gravitate towards those ones is because that's what they like, and that's fine. That's their ethos, that's their physicality, and it's more about here than what's here. What's here, it's here. It's more about here, how you are here and here. And that's the kind of martial arts that you do. And everyone's entitled to do what they want. And yes, it's annoying when people then sell that online, and like you're a channel or whatever and you watch it and you're like, oh, like they're touting this. But then beware of the man who makes that his job of that's the main thing I hate about these bloody channels, is their job is pointing out to you the shit that you already know and feeding it to you and getting thousands of views and painting themselves out as an expert. And they're an expert in telling everyone exactly what they want to hear, and often it just cultures a bad crowd. And that's another reason why I avoid debunking. I avoid these freaking martial arts laugh channels. I do like that Ranton guy though. Ranton's good. You can't not like Ranton. And like Sensei Seth and them, and they're good. A few years ago, there was that old Icy Mike. And again, when you start, if you're open-minded about the martial arts, I'm in your ball camp. But when I see, and sorry guys, when I specifically see close-minded American channels, and that's a lot of them, that that are just regurgitating the same stuff, and they're not trying to bring culture, they're not trying to bring understanding, then I'm not interested, because you're just, nah, you know. And actually, old Sensei Seth has been really good. And I just saw his, he's got like I saw a bit of his recent video on Systema. And that guy's actually been really good. He could have gone the other way because he was hanging around with that Icy Mike guy. And he's actually been really good at going to a bunch of martial arts that people would usually poo on. They were all pooing. Everyone was pooing on Kung Fu like a couple years back. For the life of my whole channel, everyone's, there's been so many, the big wave of Americana, they've been pooing on Kung Fu and other martial arts and Jiu-Jitsu and Japanese Jiu-Jitsu and Aikido and there's and it's just just leave people to do their martial arts, because guess what? There's good people and bad people in every martial art, and you can find great practitioners of every martial art if you look for them, or you can find bad ones. And of course, the bad ones shine out. And like my old instructor used to say, the bad people go to the bad clubs. And the bad clubs usually have way more people than the good clubs, because they don't have to work as hard. They capture all the martial arts wannabes. And it's a bit different now in like big MMA gyms, which are popular and well known, and everyone goes there to learn. That's what I mean. But I'm talking more like old style martial arts clubs, karate and this and that and the next thing. But I'm sure it extends to MMA and boxing gyms and Muay Thai gyms, like the real hardcore gyms, probably do not have as many people as the sort of muck fitness gyms. And I've been to a few. I went to I've been to a couple of MMA clubs now, and I went to one MMA club that was good, but you'd be in a Muay Thai class for an hour and something. You're paying like loads of money, and there was like 30, not 30, there was like 50, 60, 70 people in there, all crammed into this room, and you're just doing like, punch, kick, and like a bit of drills and stuff. And I was like, bro, I could have stayed home and done this. And I'd have more space, and I wouldn't have had to pay money, and it only took a couple of times of doing that, and I was like, you know what, the club is good or whatever, but there's no space, there's no like personal tuition going on here. I'm just paying money to rock up and do a bit of a fitness camp. I could literally train harder, better, just at home on my own, on my bag, and that was the honest truth about that. So that's another thing you got to watch out about. Don't go in. I'm going to finish this video now. Don't go to your martial arts club and then sit and be all sit back on your laurels. You gotta keep sharp on it and keep looking and be like, actually, well, hold on a minute, what am I getting here? And if you're not getting value, you go somewhere else. Your training session should be hard work, and you should come out of your training sessions feeling like, some of my best training sessions, I came out feeling the shittest. I like went in and I was like, bro, I have never done martial arts in my life, and I've done it for a long time. Some of the best sessions I've gone to, I came out being like, I'm just a complete beginner. What the hell happened there? And that's where you learn, where you just get schooled and you learn, and it's hard, and you've had to work hard, and it's challenging, and you're with good guys, or you've pushed yourself that hard, every session doesn't have to be like that, but not everyone wants to train like that, and you can't train like that all the time, and that's why there's all these other clubs and all these intermittals. So anyway, that's my 2 cents on that. It's entertaining, but I'm not gonna waste my time, especially now, after all these years of not doing it. I'm not gonna waste my time now debunking. And I've been tempted a few times, especially with this Tai Chi channel that I was just like, no. But I'm not going to waste my time doing it. So, yeah, anyway, keep up the good work.